Ladies and gentlemen, Behind the Line proudly presents to you another exciting edition of The Woke, Turning on the Woke. This special episode is brought to you by the law firm of Kellerman and Kellerman. Are you feeling guilty about your white privilege? Did you receive a promotion that you deserved, but your conscience is making you believe it should have gone to someone collecting food stamps? If you are a true worshiper of the oak tree and you want to right this injustice, call Kellerman and Kellerman, the experts in white privilege. We are responsible for transforming Skip Bayless from a journalist to an apologizer. We can help you too. Call us up at WANKSPANKR. Oh, it is a dark day for our brother in woke, Maximilian Kellerman. Go ahead and prep the burial plot in the woke cemetery. I know we are running out of room there. I know the quarters are getting tight, much to the delight of Don Lemon. Donnie, he will never, ever complain about sharing tight spaces with another man. The donut diva Brian Stelter, he has been fed so well, his ass is now taking up 2 spots. But I am sure the Undertaker can make room for the beloved Max Kellerman. This just goes to show you, there is no loyalty in the woke movement. It doesn't matter how many times you apologize for your white privilege. Doesn't matter how many times you accuse the NFL of mythical racism. You could be the biggest cheerleader for the WNBA. You could interrupt segments on NBA Today, claiming it's time to talk about real basketball in the WNBA. None of that matters. It doesn't matter. Woke media outlets like ESPN, they can promote all the socialism they want under the guise of social justice, but at the end of the day, they still run their business under the system of capitalism. Sure, you might benefit from collecting woke welfare for a little while, but at the end of the day, the terms of that woke welfare are still based on your value, the value you provide. Or in the case of Max Kellerman, the lack of value. I know lonely men who enjoy spanking the wanker to Max Kellerman don't want to hear this, but the truth is, Max Kellerman provides no value to ESPN. Maxie is what us normal people like to call replaceable. This hasn't been made official just yet, but it's being reported by several sources that Max Kellerman is being pulled off television at ESPN. Well, KC, I didn't know Max Kellerman was still on television. I thought ESPN demoted him to covering WWE wrestling. This is where Max is most comfortable, watching almost naked men wrestle each other in Speedos. Believe it or not, Maximus has remained on ESPN for the last couple of years. Judging by his ratings, I realize most people think he was fired after his former partner in butt bongo, Stephen A. Smith, tapped his bongo for the final time on Woke Take. But part of their divorce settlement was giving his former lover a temporary time slot on ESPN. Not ESPN2, not ESPNU, not ESPNW, which is the division of ESPN that covers women's sports where men are allowed to participate. When Stephen A. and Max divorced, the judge ruled that Max should be given airtime on ESPN. To make the best of a bad situation, ESPN hid Max in the worst time slot imaginable, mid-afternoon. His show's on at 2 p.m. when literally no one's watching television. Dad's at work, mom picking up the kids from school. The unemployed, they're passed out from morning drinking, getting ready for another long night with their beverage of choice, Bud Light. Naturally, Max Kellerman's ratings have rivaled only Bomani Jones in the huge embarrassing failure category. Yesterday, just 212,000 people tuned in to listen to Max cry about his white privilege. Now, before we move on to the record low morale at ESPN, I wanted to take a moment to properly eulogize the media career of Max Kellerman. Even though his career has pretty much been dead for 2 years, it is now becoming official. Before we lay Max to rest, I thought we should take a moment to remember the good times. I dug through my video archives on my laptop, found one of Max Kellerman's best moments. This clip is from August of 2020. This was Max Kellerman in his prime. I trimmed the clip down for time reasons, but in the span of 2 minutes, Maximus managed to hit the woke trifecta. He tackled police brutality. He condemned mythical racism. He also spoke of the importance of social distancing after a passionate performance of the butt bongo. Grab your tissue, Try to control your emotions. Let's have a moment of silence as we remember the media career of Max Kellerman.
Like when Kaepernick kneeled, and specifically it was about police brutality. But I saw it as a larger issue of basically just social justice. There is systemic injustice toward black people. And you can look for it in issues like law enforcement, armed, many of them armed, white, maskless. They weren't wearing masks or enforcing social distancing. Men, some of them belonging to right-wing militias, pushed past police and filled the pews, or whatever you want to call the seats, which were supposed to be spaced out for social distancing, because we're in a pandemic and it's actually hitting there very hard. And the larger issue is black life has always been cheap in this country, and it's time it starts getting more expensive.
I'll give you a second to get a hold of yourself. All right? Let's be strong. We can work through this together. Max Kellerman, he is scheduled to be replaced in the afternoons by Pat McAfee. Now, even though this is a horrible time slot, executives at ESPN, they feel like Pat McAfee will perform well. They are confident he can top the ratings of Max Kellerman. No shit. You could air a pair of baboons tag teaming the banana, and they would draw a larger audience than Max Kellerman. With ESPN paying Pat McAfee $10 million a year, his show has got to draw ratings. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Pat McAfee to perform. As an outsider, he's already one of the highest paid personalities at the network, which is pissing everyone off behind the scenes, but we'll get to that in just a second. As of right now, executives at ESPN, they are saying all the right things. We are not changing anything about Pat McAfee. The only change we have requested is that he doesn't say the two F words, fuck and fart. Wait a minute. I thought you said you weren't changing anything. Pat McAfee hasn't even started, and you're already making changes. Well, KC, this is TV. You can't use that language on TV. ESPN doesn't have a choice here. Yes, they do. You are allowed to say whatever you want on cable TV because it's a paid service. Now, most cable networks, they choose not to, but it's not illegal like it is on ABC or CBS. ESPN aired The Last Dance. Michael Jordan, they aired that, which was filled with cursing. I am telling you right now, there will be drastic changes to the Pat McAfee show. Hell, there might even be changes to Pat McAfee himself. It is impossible to dump yourself in the porta potty and re-emerge without a little shit stain. Now, I'm not going to criticize Pat McAfee for joining ESPN, but my stance has not changed. I think it's a huge mistake. He was already going in as an outsider. Pat McAfee was already joining ESPN without being one of them. He hasn't been baptized and born again. He's not a member of Woke United Methodist. That makes the situation hard enough. But now, he is going into ESPN with an added level of professional jealousy. Right now, ESPN is in the middle of the second round of layoffs. It's entirely possible that Max Kellerman not only loses his show, he could also lose his job. No more ESPN radio in the mornings for Max. Well, KC, I didn't know ESPN radio still existed. Yeah, neither does anyone else. Hundreds of people have already been laid off at ESPN. They are looking to eliminate another $30 million in salary by the end of next month. Just think about it. If you're Max Kellerman or you're a producer at ESPN, spend the last 15, maybe 20 years giving 100% to this network. You clean the showers after Woke Bath Wednesday. You restock the Preparation H after a long night of partying and Woke Hug celebrations. You have spent more time surrounded by shit fucks than you have with your own family. And you're going to be let go so ESPN can give some outsider $10 million a year? Naturally, people are going to be upset. They're going to be jealous. One insider from ESPN told Front Office Sports, "It's just too soon to be hiring Pat McAfee. It's like breaking up with your boyfriend, then a month later, you watch him marry his husband." Over the next month, ESPN could be letting go of analysts that cover the NFL and the NBA. God willing, Mina Kimes will be one of them. Hell, when it comes to NBA coverage, ESPN just needs to clean house. I can't comment too much on their NFL coverage because I don't watch it. It's garbage. I refuse to listen to Mina Kimes break down game tape. I refuse to listen to Mina Kimes try to tell me what players and coaches are thinking when she's never been in their situation. But I can comment on their NBA coverage. It sucks. It's god awful. It's horrendous. Matter of fact, it's embarrassing. ESPN has been criticized throughout the NBA playoffs for their horrific coverage of the league. You know, about a month ago, I shared a story with you guys from the New York Post claiming morale at ESPN was at an all-time low. Here we are, 4, maybe 5 weeks later? That record has been broken. The Titanic is sinking, and it's sinking fast. There's no doubt the layoffs have a lot to do with it. There are a lot of people working at ESPN right now knowing they're going to lose their jobs in the next month or so. So the layoffs have a lot to do with the low morale, but I don't think that's the only reason. I think morale is low at ESPN from top to bottom. Can you think of another time when ESPN has been less influential? Can you think of another time ESPN has been this irrelevant? Just think about it. They just went out and broke the bank to hire a podcaster, a YouTuber. This is not like hiring Joe Buck and Troy Aikman to secure better games for Monday Night Football. You know why ESPN hired Pat McAfee? He had influence. His show had a bigger audience than every other show on their network. ESPN used to create stars. Now they have to buy them. It is impossible to create stars when you're heavily regulating what they can say. You are not allowed to be yourself at ESPN, which is why I think Pat McAfee is headed for a rude awakening. But give me your thoughts. ESPN gives Max Kellerman a boot in the ass to make room for Pat McAfee. Morale at the worldwide leader in woke. Once again, record lows. Anyone surprised? In 2023, why would anyone want to work at this dump? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, kc_btl84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.